So my favorite kinds of greens are turnip greens, your collard greens, mustard greens are great, dandelion greens, any of those. But one thing to never do is Hey guys, I'm Landon, welcome to Tye-Dyed Iguana, and today we're talking about a common question of what does my bearded dragon eat? They have a very wide variety of diet, but we'll start with their protein. Their protein is mostly insects, and what that means is you can do your crickets, you can do your dubia roaches, and once they're around a year old, you can do some worms. The reason you don't want to do worms as a baby is the casting on the mealworms can actually cause problems with their digestion, so you want to do that once they're a bit older and they're a bit more mature. You can also, as a snack, do waxworms. Those guys you can do straight out as babies because they don't have that hard casting. And you can also do hornworms. Now the thing about hornworms is they're actually not a snack. They can be a main source of protein. They're just a bit more expensive and there's a lot more to it, but if you use it, you'll have a very plump bearded dragon. Now onto the greens. So my favorite kinds of greens are turnip greens, your collard greens, mustard greens are great, dandelion greens, any of those. But one thing to never do is lettuce. There's not really anything in it. It's just like crunchy water and you're not really gonna get anything out of it into your animal. You can occasionally do fruit, but you don't wanna do it too often because the seeds are hard on them and they can't digest them as easily as you would think. And then fruit also is super high in sugar and it can cause some mouth rot if they eat it too much. You can also, if you want to, supplement the greens for some yellow squash and fresh green beans if you would like, but it's always a good staple just to stick to your greens if you want to just play it safe. And then you can just do any other vegetables as a snack as well, because they do like their treats. And then if you are curious and you're in store, if you ask any of us, we can get you a little chart that we have. It's a greens chart. It shows what they can and can't eat. It has it what they can eat every day, what they can eat occasionally, because certain fruits and vegetables they cannot eat. They're just not safe. So if you are curious, you can come in store and get that. If you also want to add stuff that's not fresh and live, we have a couple options. Actually, we have a lot, but these two are some of my favorites. First is this flower topper. My favorite part about this is it's kind of like treats on top of their greens. So this works really good for babies when they're not a big fan of their greens and they like their protein. If you add this on top of the greens, it entices them to eat it a lot more. It's kind of like when you're eating Lucky Charms. These are like the marshmallows on top. So the cool thing about this guy right here is it actually is a complete diet supplement. I never recommend to only do this, but if you're gonna go out of town for a while or you just wanna do this for a bit, you can add 10 to 20 of these into their dish, add a tiny bit of water and keep it away from heat so it stays moist. And then after about 12 hours, take out anything that's not eaten. And this is a complete diet that you can use for a while if you're gonna go out of town for a week or if you just don't wanna leave your house. This works great. So as babies, the beardeds are gonna eat a lot more protein. So you're gonna have about a 70 to 30% split. So the babies are gonna be very heavy on the protein, not as much on the greens. As they get older, that is gonna flip, and then they're gonna be a lot heavier on the greens and a lot less on the protein, usually around 70% on one, 30% on the other. So if you have a baby and it's eating a ton of crickets and very small amount of greens, that's completely okay. However, that's where the flower topper can come into play and make it so they eat those a bit more. And then as adults, if they eat less crickets and more greens, that's completely okay and that's very, very normal. All right, so the beardies diet is overall pretty easy. They eat a lot, so if you get one, expect it to eat, poop, and sleep for about a year straight. And then they'll start to dial it back, but for the first year, they love to eat. But if you guys have any questions on it, you can check our website, you can call us or come in store and say hi.